Conversations with Nicole. Let's talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about, let's talk about, let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
Greetings. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host, and Conversations with Nicole is a talk show based in Tallahassee, Florida, focused on connecting the community through conversations. And today is what I call Wellness Wednesday, which is an opportunity for you, me, and my guests to chat about something interesting and intriguing. And today we are talking about productivity. Yes, unlocking productivity to start the new year. The time is now to do it. And my very special guest is no stranger to Conversations with Nicole, attorney GC Murray the second, but he goes by Coach GC at this moment in time. And y'all, he's coming to us all the way from Indonesia. It is 8 o'clock in the morning, his time, tomorrow, right now. So we are super excited and delighted to have him here with us. But before I bring him on, I need to hear from you. Where are you tuning in from? Let me know in the comments. We are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn. And this is an interactive live. Your comments, your questions are welcome. And we fully expect to hear from you. We want your comments. We want your questions. So tag a friend. Let them know they need to be on here. We're talking productivity. Yes, I know the new year started. We may feel like, we have slipped in terms of our resolutions, our goals already. We're 2 weeks in. It's Founders Day for AKAs, and I believe the Alphas, if I'm not mistaken. Coach GC will tell us about that. But yeah, so you may feel like you've slipped a little bit, but we're gonna get you back on track, right? With productivity. So I see a few folks have chimed in. My mom, of course. Thank you, Ma, down in Miami. Love you, love you. Thank you for being here. Miss Potter, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for being here down in Miami as well. Love you too. Appreciate y'all so much. Your continued support means so much to me. So I see some more folks are joining us. Again, like, share, tag, and let folks know they need to be part of this conversation. So I'll acknowledge them later, but I'm gonna go ahead and share Coach GC's bio. So GC Murray the second Esquire, DPL, a nationally recognized lawyer and executive coach, affectionately known as Coach GC, is a renowned figure in the legal and business community. He is a conduit to legal expertise and transformative coaching with an illustrious career in business law and a zeal for cultivating growth. GC Murray stands out as a guiding force in today's complex professional landscape. His expertise spans across the creation and management of 501c3 entities, nonprofit management, executive coaching, cybersecurity law, and professional speaking. Mr. Murray embodies a holistic approach to maneuvering through legal intricacies and boosting professional development. And his mission is centered around empowering individuals and organizations to enact greater change and achieve both legal and operational excellence. Y'all, help me welcome Coach GC. Yay!
What's going on, Nicole? How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'm well. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I am glad that you brought me back. I know
Yes.
the last time we talked, it was December 2023. I
Was.
was beginning this trek, this long journey all the way here to Jakarta, Indonesia. And
Mhm.
now look at me,
I know.
one
Look
year
at
later.
1 year later. You still there. You survived.
Still there, surviving. I'm even trying to thrive.
I know
That's the
that's
goal for this
right.
year.
We
That's the goal
thriving
for
in
this year.
2025, right?
Amen.
Yes.
So what's been up
So
with you? How have you been? How's the show?
as the show is good. We are well since the last time we talked. I'm on the radio on 96.1 on Sundays at 8:30
Mhm.
a.m. So I have my own 30-minute show on there and just living a dream and dreaming bigger.
I like it.
Yes. So tell the people, who is Coach GC outside of all of the great and wonderful things that I just mentioned? In your own words, who are you? Not what you do, but who are you?
Well, man, that's a tough one. Trying to define oneself is always difficult. It's always a difficult task. But I guess if at my funeral people got up and spoke about me, I would hope that they would say that I was a good a good Christian, loyal to his faith, a good man, loyal to his wife and family, and a good lawyer, loyal to the rule of law. So
All
that
right.
is who I am.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, very good. So talk to us a little bit about kind of what prompted you to get started in this coaching arena.
You know, it all started. I was about 30 years old. Just had a birthday, and I was working as an attorney for a trade association that was focused on civil justice issues. And we had a major conference in Big Sky, Montana. Beautiful place if you've ever been. Highly recommend it unless you have sickle cell trait like I do. Now
Mm,
I've been to higher elevation places before and have been relatively fine, but I never had been as high as Big Sky.
okay.
And when I got there, started feeling immediately bad. Like I mean immediate.
Mm,
And my symptoms progressively got worse. And people talk about altitude sickness and things of that nature. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe my symptoms align with that, and that's what I'm going through. But the pain just increased over and over again, and I ended up calling my Neo. And you did reference earlier. It is the Founders Day for Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. Shout out to my wife. Happy Founder Day, babe. I know you're watching.
okay.
But I called my Neo and I said, hey man, I'm really, and he's a neurosurgeon out in Cali. He's subsequently moved to St. Louis, but I said, hey man, it's 4 a.m. I feel absolutely terrible. This is this is what I'm feeling. And he's like, hey man, I need you to drop everything you're doing and go to the hospital right now. Don't wait. Don't try to tough it out. Don't try to sleep through it. Go to the hospital right now. I think you're having a sickle cell crisis. And by God's grace, I knocked on a friend's door who happened to be next door, a colleague that was working with me. And by the time I finished knocking, I had collapsed. Had no more energy, had no more power. By
Wow.
God's grace, he said he went to the door, he looked out the peephole and didn't see anything.
Uh-oh. GC, we might have a little connection issue, y'all, because it looks like there may be some freezing. So let me know in the chat if you all can see me, can hear me. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Okay, there we go. I hear you.
You can
Okay.
hear me?
Now I can. Yes.
That's
Can
a
you hear me?
pro- problem of being overseas. Yeah, I can hear you. I'm tracking.
Okay, cool. All right. All right. We're good. I see you now. I hear you.
All right.
Okay, good. So you
Yeah.
said, so you were talking about the sickle cell and the trade and, this illness that you had from the altitude.
So ultimately, I get to the hospital and the doctor says, "Hey, look, you got a 15% mortality rate if the worst case scenario happens, and we're not sure if the worst case scenario is going to happen."
Hmm.
So I tell the doctor that means I got an 85% chance of survival. And he looks at me, and I'll never forget this, Nicole. He looks me dead in my eyes and says, "You're not taking this seriously enough." It
Oh,
wasn't until later on where someone told me, "Man, you got better odds playing Russian roulette than
what?
15%." Yep.
Wow.
Anyway, the gist of it was at that point in time, as I was laying in agonizing pain in the hospital,
Hmm.
not sure if I was going to survive or not, right? Not sure if the worst case scenario was going to happen. Not sure if I was going to see my wife again. Not sure if I was going to be able to chance to meet my son. What
Right.
I realized is the work I'm doing is good, but it wasn't the work I was put here to do. Right?
Okay.
And it was at that moment where I realized that my true destiny is to help people reach their righteous destiny.
Hmm.
And I got better, and from that moment on, I started focusing on mentorship, and then moved from mentorship and solidified that into getting certification in executive coaching. And for the last 4 years, I've been coaching over 100 plus lawyers, and stuff like that brings me here today.
Wonderful. Wonderful. How do you feel doing this work? Can you hear me, GC?
It's going in and out.
Okay, so my question was, how do you feel doing this work? It's got to be quite rewarding for you.
Hmm.
Going in and out.
Yeah,
Can you hear
I
me?
can't hear you, Nicole.
I'm hearing him. We hear him perfectly. I hope everybody can hear him. All right. Uh,
I can make out like every other word. Sounds like you may be able to hear me, but I
I
may
can
not be
hear
able to
you.
hear you.
Yes, I can hear
Okay.
you. It's fine. Yes. All right. Well, we're gonna try to push forward. I see a few more folks have joined us. Miss Brittany, thank you for being here. She's here in Tallahassee. And Miss Lisa Herring Jones, who's also here in Tallahassee. Thank you so much for being here, Lisa. And my sister Shayla, who says good evening. She's down in South Florida, and she says, I know of Coach GC from FIU, which is
Oh,
yes. So my sister Shayla, who's down in South Florida, she says she knows you from FIU.
all right. Let me give me your cash app so I can go ahead and keep those stories buried.
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to ask about those after the show. All right. So we want to chat about productivity. Productivity. All right. And so he's giving me some instruction about if I write in the chat, he should be able to read and respond. All right. So let me just get him started. Just talk to us about productivity.
All right. If I'm getting my cues right, and again, I'm sorry about this, Nicole. I imagine it's
Okay.
this internet from the future.
The internet from the
There's
future, right?
January 16th over here, 8:30 in the morning, so or 8:45 in the morning. So I got this future internet. But
Right.
if I'm reading my cues right, if I think I'm on point, then right now is the time where I start talking about productivity. Right now is the time that I remind you that we're in a new year,
Yes.
that we are in 2025. Now, the funny thing about productivity, right, is that we all try to start at January 1. We all say, hey, this is going to be the year that something is different. Are you familiar with National Quitters Day?
No.
Yeah,
No.
me,
No. No.
I wasn't either, but apparently there is a national day where everybody by that time has quit their New Year's resolutions. And do you know
Oh,
when that time is?
when is it?
It's the second Friday of the year.
Oh.
Two
Have we
Fridays.
did
On
we
average, we get about 2 Fridays of saying that we are going to be a better version of ourselves.
so that would have been January 10th.
Yep, January 10th. So we've
Okay.
already had 6 days of Mount Everest syndrome.
Wow. Okay.
Now,
I've never heard of National Quitters Day.
yep, I just as I was producing more content relating to resolutions, I learned about Quitters Day, and it shocked me. Not that it exists, right? I get it. I've quit many a resolution.
Hmm.
I've been trying to lose weight for the last 10 years.
Mm.
I ain't quite it yet, but I never knew that there was a day, and I never knew that day would be so soon.
Mm.
And part of me started diving into like, why is that? Right? Why is it that we quit things? So I know that we're talking about productivity, but I want to flip the model just a little bit because it's
Okay.
less about being productive and it's more about being persistent.
Hmm.
All
Okay.
right. That's the goal that I think everybody in the chat, everybody watching live, that's the goal I think we all need to have is how do I maintain a little bit more consistency so I can actually achieve my goals this year?
Hmm.
And I think the first thing that everybody must do is set a goal that actually matters.
Okay.
And too often we set these goals that really don't mean anything to us. Hey, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to lose weight. Now I say that because hey, I want to lose weight. But like the reality is, it's not the most pressing thing in my life, right? It's not something that's stopping me from functioning. I just played basketball the other day, didn't get hurt, so it's like it's not stopping my interactions with people. It's not stopping me from achieving things. So it's just something a vanity metric that I want to achieve, right? But it doesn't really move the needle. It doesn't help me get closer to this version of myself that I want to be, right? It's
Right.
not something that really matters, if I'm perfectly honest. And because it doesn't really matter, I haven't put everything toward making it happen, right? I haven't built up that persistence which allow me to be productive
Mm-hmm.
as it relates to that problem. So that's the first step is everybody has to figure out what is the goal that they're going to do that actually matters enough to them that they're willing to do it.
So let me pause you for one moment, and see if we can get the viewers involved. So the first thing is to set a goal that matters to you. So in the chat, if you don't mind sharing, what matters to you? Let us know. Just one thing that matters to you that you can set a goal for. It could be health. It could be something vocationally related, educationally related. It could be something family related. What matters to you that you can set a goal for? Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. For me, I will share. Um, my self care. I am taking that a lot more seriously this year in 2025. So I have already started out with walking a little more consistently. It's been a little cold, so that's been a little challenge for me. But I try to, if it gets above 50 degrees, I try to get out there and go walking. Um, also, just trying some new things that are self-care related. So the other day I did a sound bath, had never done it before, and I loved it. I fell into a very deep sleep. I felt more rested than I had in quite some time. So self-care, I'm setting this goal to take better care of myself, and with diet and rest and that sort of thing as well. That all is, I'm very mindful of that on a daily basis. All right. I see Brittany has responded. She says, seeking first the kingdom of God. Okay.
Amen.
Yes. So definitely spirituality and spiritual goals are also part of that self-care for me as well. So spending time like meditating, praying, reading the word. So yes, that's all good. And listening to the word too. All right. Anybody else? All right. Shayla, my sister said, my faith walk. Yes. All right. Yes, that is definitely setting a goal that matters for sure. Thank you for sharing, Shay. Thank you for sharing. And we know that we walk by faith and not by sight, right? Because
Amen.
sometimes it don't look all that great, but we got to believe that it's gonna get better. Okay, you may
Gotta
proceed.
have that. Gotta have that Hebrews 11:1 faith.
Yes, yes, yes.
Move with that. That's
Indeed.
one. That's one of my favorite verses.
Yes. All right. So set a goal that matters.
All
What
right.
else we
And
got?
now, so I want to challenge everybody on the goals that we just heard. And first and foremost, thank you so much for being brave enough to talk about your goals, right? Because you got to have big goals in order to actually have something worthwhile, right? And big goals are a little intimidating to share. It's hard to tell someone that you want to improve your closeness with God. I
Hmm.
don't think that's an easy thing to say, because what that means, especially when you're putting it out here like in the public, the public sphere, because conversations with Nicole is global.
Yeah.
We watching all around the world now, so yeah, you got a lot of people who are now henceforth going to be holding you accountable to this variation of yourself that you're saying you're going to achieve. They're going to
Mm.
hold you accountable to making sure that you are closer with God, that you are going to be closer in your faith. But my challenge for you is not just a global challenge. I want to specific.
Okay.
In addition to persistence, I want precision. I want you
Precision.
to define a little bit about what your goal is. I want you to define that walk with God. I want you to better understand it. Does that mean you're going to go to church every Sunday? Does that
Mm,
mean you're going to go to Bible study in addition to going to church every Sunday? Are you going to go to Bible study, going to go to church, and you're going to go to the women's ministry, and you're going to do all the potlucks and the bake sales? Yeah, look, what is it that actually means to you? And let's put some tangible outlines together for you to actually achieve that goal, right? So
okay.
if it's, hey, I'm going to read the Bible on my own this year, I'm going to read every single word of it. I'm going to go through an app and I'm going to physically read it so I understand everything that's in it. Or is it when moments of difficulty come, I'm not going to worry because of my newfound faith?
Hmm. Good questions. So precision.
So there are just so many angles. So if you could just pick 5 things about your walk with God that you're going to commit to, and you don't have to, our host might ask you to place it out,
I'm
but I'm
not. I'm
happy.
not. I'm not. I'm
I'm
not.
happy with you keeping it to yourself, but I'm also happy if you share it with everyone. But ultimately, up to you. But just 5 things, that little checklist items, right? That we can say, that you can say, like, okay, I know that my faith got stronger because I now did these things, right? Same thing
Okay.
with you. Same thing with you, Nicole. You want to improve your health, so I want to hear you write down some ways that you can decide and govern that you were successful at improving your health, because it's a pretty broad level thing. So I want to know, like, okay, not only are you eating healthier, but perhaps you're saying once a week I'm going to replace you know, certain foods
So
with these foods, with healthier foods and things
uh,
like that.
no, you are absolutely right. I hadn't thought of it from that perspective, but in my mind, yes, I'm eating only certain times. So between 11 and 7, I've cut out sweets. Again, I'm being really intentional, like no fried foods, not a whole lot of, no potatoes, which is one of my weaknesses. So no French fries, no potato chips, all of the things that I love, right? So I
Hmm.
really I'm trying to move the needle on this health thing. So yes, so again, it's walking, it's making sure I get plenty of sleep, rest, like at least 7 to 8 hours a day. So those are
Okay.
some things that I'm intentionally doing to try to help improve my health.
So let's reverse engineer that. You want to get 8 hours of sleep a day, which I think you're supposed to get 10 nowadays, right?
Is oh, wait a
No, I'm
minute
messing with you. I'm
now.
messing with you. I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you. Get your 8. So let's reverse engineer that. What time do you normally wake up? And then do 8 hours before that. So not only are you telling yourself, I need to get 8 hours, you can then take that goal and say, that means I need to be to bed by 10, let's call it. I need
Hmm.
to be to bed by 10 p.m., which then means, hey, I need to eat. In terms of being healthy, I need to eat 2 hours before that, or no later than 2 hours before that, right? So now you know not only about it, I want to be healthier, but now you know I want to be to bed by 10. I
Hmm.
want to have finished my dinner by 8, which also means, perhaps like, okay, I'm not going to be watching TV by 9. Like
Hmm.
now you have, all of a sudden, you have time-based things that can help you be more successful.
Yeah,
And
for
now
sure.
you can start building habits, and then even habit stacking, as my wife has just put me on to. Now you can start stacking up your habits.
Hmm.
Yeah, habit stacking. She said she heard it on a podcast that she's been watching or listening to, and she said, yeah, habit stacking, putting together a bunch of the good things that you want to do together at the same time, so you can achieve them more consistently, especially if they're closely related.
I like that a lot. Yeah, somebody put that in the chat for me. All right. We got Miss Kesey on with us. Thank you for being here, Kesey. And Mr. Bobby Roberts, who is also here in Tallahassee. He said to be accountable and responsible for both my success and failure. I need both to grow, mature, and learn how to recognize and manage my gifts, talents, and skills for new challenges and goals.
Mm.
Okay.
Me and you got the same resolution. The exact same road. I kid you not, Nicole. I've been here for a year, and throughout that year, we have a studio here in Jakarta, and I have produced maybe 50 videos,
Oh wow.
and none of them have seen the light of day.
Well, what
And
what
I'm
you
like,
waiting on?
I don't know.
Uh,
Nothing but excuses, right? And it's exactly what Bobby was just talking about. It's about taking ownership of the gift because the gift isn't mine to begin with, right? The gift is the gift from God. And I'm over here being selfish with it. Yeah, there's a parable that talks about the talents, the parable of talents, and I'm over here burying mine.
mm,
And this is the year, 2025 is the year where I said I'm not doing that anymore.
okay.
And that's why I was so passionate about getting back on the show.
Okay. Well, we gonna help you with that.
Hold me to it. Keep
We
me
are
accountable.
holding you accountable. Yes. And find out by the end of the month where's one of these videos. I need to
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You're gonna see a bunch of them. But one of the things that I am trying to discuss in the new year is productivity, right? And part of the productivity model that I look at is obviously the goal setting portion,
Mm-hmm.
making something that you can be productive at, right? But I gave a speech yesterday, and in that speech, I glanced over why people are unproductive. Like, why are we not being successful? And I just talked about the ways to be productive and to be successful with your goals. But I
Mm-hmm.
want to spend some time actually discussing why it is that sometimes we don't achieve them. And I wanted to know if that would be a valuable tool for the audience. I want to know if everyone is curious why they're not
Absolutely.
achieving.
It's a valuable tool for me. Why don't we achieve our goals? Maybe, listen, maybe we don't really want what we say we want.
And that's definitely one of them, right? Choosing goals that actually are relevant to you. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a part of the SMART framework. Now, I imagine everybody in some point in their professional lives has come across SMART goals. Um, that's it's a framework that somebody has created that allows you to achieve goals by putting in certain things to make them more actionable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've added a couple components to it. But before we even get to that, I think first and foremost, we're setting it's not us, it's not a lack of ambition.
Mm-hmm.
It, it's a lack of accuracy.
A lack of accuracy. Okay.
We don't know what we're doing. We say big things, we promise big goals, but we don't have big plans that match those big goals. We're just not accurate with the planning stage, right?
Okay.
And I know you heard this one. No one plans to fail; they just fail to plan, and it's one of the truest statements out there. And the biggest problem for most people is what I call Mount Everest syndrome, right? And Mount Everest syndrome is when you get to the base camp and you say, "I'm going to climb Mount Everest,"
Mm-hmm.
and all your friends say, "Man, that's incredible! You're climbing Everest? That's impressive. Man, I'm proud of you, man. Good job. Keep it up. That we expect great things." Then you get to the base camp and you look up and you're like, yeah, that's high, and it's mighty cold, and you don't end up climbing Everest. You just don't do it, and everyone around you forgives you, and more importantly, you forgive yourself because you say it was Everest.
Mm.
It's a difficult mountain to climb, and that's what we do all the time. We make these grandiose goals, right? Not because they're to us, not because we care about them, but
Mm.
because they sound good and they feel good when we say them, but we never achieve them, right? And then because we forgive ourselves for not achieving them, we just repeat the same habits over and over again. You talk
Wow.
about habit stacking, and we're doing poor habit stacking because we are promising big, planning little, achieving nothing, forgiving ourselves, and allowing ourselves to repeat that same cycle.
Whew. You have said a lot right there.
I say it because I live it, right? I am the biggest culprit of doing this all the time. I'm gonna I made all the videos, obviously, but the goal wasn't just to make the videos. The goal was to publish the videos.
You're
And
right.
I completely failed at that, right? And what did I do? I said it's okay. One of my blocks, and this is a block that I know a lot of people in the audience have. I have a perfection block.
Mm.
I get ready, I get set, I aim, and then I aim,
Well,
and
you
then I
gotta
aim a little
go.
bit more.
You gotta go. No,
You
you
gotta go. You
gotta
gotta
go.
fire.
You got
Some
to
people
go.
Some people have a perfection block where they won't move, they won't do anything unless everything is absolutely perfect. But we all know that there is no perfection in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there is no actual time for you to achieve the stuff that you want to achieve because you're always going to be waiting for a moment that never will come. And
Mm.
that's my issue. I keep waiting on triggers that will never be pulled. And because of that, I have allowed myself to miss out on so many opportunities, including being a better version of myself.
How can we encourage you in that vein?
No comment. This ain't about me, Nicole.
He said no comment. No, but I mean, I run across those type of people as well in my daily walk. So I'm just trying to figure out like how to encourage them to like move past this perfectionism block.
I wish I had the answer. If I had the answer, I truly think I'd be a multimillionaire by now. But I will say that the one thing that has helped is identifying my block.
Okay.
The moment that I could put a phraseology to it, the moment I could define it or have it defined for me, allowed me to start thinking about it as a problem. Now it wasn't something that was internal happening to me. Now I could look at it as something happening externally to me. And now it's a problem I can see. And because it's a problem I can see, now it's a problem I can fix.
Okay.
Right? Because I can put a name on it, now I can manage it.
Gotcha.
And so now I use that. Now I'm using my resolutions this year, and just for all transparency,
Mhm.
that's my resolution. My resolution is not to take my light and hide it in a bushel. The Bible says that don't make no sense.
Mm-mm.
So so I'm not doing that this year. So I'm and to be specific, I have time set up every month where I'm going to that studio and recording. I'm doing batch videos, so as many videos as I can in an 8 hour period.
Okay.
And then henceforth, I will post those videos consistently, where I'm trying to post at least 2 to 3 times a day, right? Posting content that's going to be helpful. So,
Nice.
for productivity purposes to start the new year, that's what I'm doing. And now, one other component is accountability, right?
Right.
Now I have accountability partners. I got the entire audience that's going to be hopefully going to my page and saying, we don't see no content.
Right. Where is it?
Where is it? Or hopefully this year they're going to be like, we see the content, keep it up. Good
Yes.
job. Keep
Yes.
at it.
Yes. So we are a little more than halfway through our conversation. So for those of you who may be just tuning in, I am on with Coach GC Murray, and we are talking about unlocking productivity to start the new year. The time is now. So Bobby had a comment that I wanted to share. He said, I've written 5 books that are not for mass production, but for personal consumption, and my testimony to me. I am an example of those writing in my walk, talk, choices, and decisions. Okay.
All right. Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad. I'm glad, man. You can help so many people just by telling them that you wrote those books, even if you don't share the content.
Mm,
Now, for all of us who've ever had that moment in us that says, I want to memorialize my testimony. Now we all have somebody that we can talk to.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's the power of sharing and the power of accountability, because now I now have a new feather in my cap, a new tool in the toolkit to achieve a new layer of success in terms of perhaps writing a book one day. This
Right.
man's written 5, right?
Mm,
So now the whole audience has a new wealth of information because of that. I appreciate you sharing that.
indeed. Thank you, Bobby. So we talk precision, we talk lack of accuracy, Mount Everest syndrome. Um, Anything else we should know about productivity?
Two more things that I think hold people back from being their most productive selves
Okay.
and achieving the goals that they set out for themselves in the new year.
Okay.
Procrastination.
Mm.
Procrastination, right? And there are tons of articles on procrastination, but I have read a lot of them, and my summary of it is that procrastination is really just a unique form of kind of just like almost an arrogance,
Mm.
because and it's not that you think you're good, right? It's not like you think you're better than people. Not that type of arrogance.
Mm-hmm.
That's the easy one. This one is an arrogance of time.
Mm.
You just assume
That you gonna
that
have
you gonna have the time,
mm.
and no matter who you are, no matter what you do, it's later than you think,
Wow.
and that's for all of us.
Yes.
And that's one of the reflections that when I was sitting in that bed at 30 with the 15% mortality rate, that I
Mm.
realized it's later than I thought.
It's
So all
later
these
than I thought.
so all these ideas I have of I will do these things. Once I realize, like, hey, you may not get the chance.
Yeah.
And so if it was important enough to me, right, then I knew I had to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And so procrastination is one of the biggest debilitators as it relates to productivity, because we always think that we have another set of time to get it done. Do you know the average person, if they live, reach the absolute peak of human evolution, the average amount of weeks they would get?
Mm-mm.
4,000.
4,000.
4,000. And
Hmm.
you're living a long time. That's you've been going to bed at 10. You've been not eating fast food like that, the fried foods and stuff. That you've been living like that for a long time. You've been healthy, and 4,000 weeks. That's about what you're going to get.
Wow.
And when you start appreciating time a little bit more, when you start understanding time a little bit more, and you start internalizing time, then I think that helps you get over that procrastination, because you realize, it's just not true. You may not get that opportunity. So if it's important, if it's important to do, then do it now.
So I want to get the viewers involved. How many of you fall a victim to procrastination?
Let me get in the chat real quick.
How many of you have an issue with procrastination? Procrastination. Um, you know, in terms of thinking you're gonna have time. He said he called it a unique form of arrogance. I've not quite looked at it from that perspective, but I guess we could look at it as such because we think, oh, I'll get around to it. So my sister, she got her hands covered over her eyes. It's all right, Shay. We are cut from the same cloth because I have an issue with it as well. You know what mine is? Like, I will know I have a big project to do or something, and I will do something totally different. Like, I will have this uncontrollable urge to do something totally not related to this big thing that I have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you make it in your mind where it's like, I have to do these things in order to do the big
The
project.
big thing.
That's
Exactly.
me.
Exactly.
That's me. I'll sit here and I'll be like, all right, I got to go ahead and work on this platform for conversations with Nicole. I got to work on what I'm going to talk about. But
Right.
first, let me clean this desk.
Right.
Let
Right.
me get
Yes.
this
That's
desk
it.
clean.
That is it right there. Yes.
And now that I cleaned the desk, I probably should just go ahead and wash those dishes. Just knock
Mm-hmm.
it out.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
finding
Yep.
any tool. No, they
Yep.
say they actually talk about that lately. They've been they have been talking about that. They've been doing research on why people do that. I haven't quite found out what all of the answers are, but some people say it's just a mechanism, that a trauma formed mechanism that we have from our upbringing. Um,
All right. We need to be healed from that one. We need to be healed from that one.
and The last thing, and there's several things that stop us from being productive, but I think the last thing I want to discuss is a fear of failure.
Fear of failure.
A fear of failure. A
Okay.
lot of us don't want to put it out there because we don't want it to not do well. We don't want to embarrass ourselves, and we don't ever want to like know for sure if we could do it or couldn't do it. I love talking about from my psychology 101, Schrodinger's cat, right? Is it alive? Is it not alive? Right? It's both until you open the box. And for a lot of us, we're living in the exact same mindset. Schrodinger's success. Uh, will I be wildly successful or will I fall flat?
So Michael Cork just joined us. Thanks for being here, Cork. He said eat the frog first on that procrastination piece.
Yep.
Yeah. Nobody wants to eat a frog, but I will eat the frog instead of doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, that'll stop me from working on this project.
Right. Right. So with the fear of failure piece, do you think that some of that might have to do with maybe some inadequacy or imposter syndrome or any of those types of things?
Of course, all of it plays a prominent role in feeling like we are going to fail. And I think it's governed by our past, right? Every last one of us has more than likely failed at something, and we didn't
Right.
like it. We didn't like it. And so now the best of us keep going. The best of us fall down flat, but get back up and are willing to do the thing that may make us fall again. But sometimes you fall and you don't want to fall anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you just don't do it. And if you have a life that allows you to avoid circumstances that'll put you in that position, then that's what you're going to do. But I challenge you today, 2025, that type of life, that unexamined life, is not the life that you were supposed to be living.
Yeah.
All right, you shouldn't be governed by fear. But if you are going to be governed by fear, then I think that the fear of not being the absolute and unequivocal best version of yourself ought to outweigh and outscare any other fear of the fact that you could fail, right? I think people ought to be more afraid that they're not going to reach their telos, not reach their righteous destiny, than they should be afraid of perhaps something goes well, perhaps something goes poorly.
So I think I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I find that visualization helps me with being the best version of myself. So me imagining myself winning, whatever that looks like. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, putting those videos out, saying that speech, um, whatever it is, just me taking time to imagine myself being successful and overcoming whatever that fear or um anxiety or what have you about the thing, whatever the thing is.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Would you recommend visualization?
Oh, I love visualization.
Okay.
Oh, I love it. I think it's an incredibly powerful tool of changing mindset, right? Because that's what it is, right? It goes from I won't be able to a this is what happens if it does work. This is what happens if I do achieve it. And I
Mm.
think that's the critical component. All of us have this voice in our head, right? And this voice has been conditioned over years, like since our
Yeah.
upbringing, on can we do it or can we not do it? And if the
Mhm.
voice in your head is constantly saying you can't do it, then you're not going to, right? But you can change that voice, right?
Okay.
You can do the work. And I guess that's therapy, that's healing, like you talked about earlier. But you can do the work to change the voice, and sometimes visualization is just what's needed, so that you stop saying, "Oh, I'm afraid. What happens if I fail?" And you start saying, "What happens if I win? What
Right.
happens if I succeed?"
Yes.
And thinking about the wildest versions of your success as
Mm.
opposed to the absolute worst case scenarios happening. I mean, I think about worst case scenarios all the time. It's a product of my job. But I very rarely, I'm being transparent, I very rarely think of best case scenarios.
Mm. So we need to
I-
shift that. We need to
We've
shift.
got to shift that. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to shift that. So think about the best. What's the best that can happen? Um, because I think those thoughts, and I've read some things around like thoughts and feelings, um, actually being part of manifestation. Those things
Hmm.
coming to pass, right? And so we start thinking and believing and speaking those things, then yes, I think they are definitely bound to come to pass, bound to happen. I see we have Brother Quasi who is joined us out of Atlanta. Thank you for being here. Peace and blessings, family. We talking productivity to start the new year, unlocking it. So we have talked about setting goals that matter, precision, which is five things that kind of help keep you on track with those goals. We've talked about um, lack of accuracy, the Mount Everest syndrome, procrastination, fear of failure, and vi- now just kind of visualization that goes along with that, which is a lot. It can maybe also seem a little overwhelming, but I think if you just take little baby steps, I really like the precision piece, right? Because even though I expressed to you that I'm working on my health, right? And so I'm eating during a certain time. So they term that as intermittent fasting, right? So I'm eating a certain time. I cut out certain things that I eat. I'm walking. I'm trying to make sure I get enough rest. Make sure I'm sleeping for a certain amount of time. So while I didn't write those things down in my head every day, I'm thinking about these things though. I really am. Because these are hopefully the tools that'll get me where I'm trying to go.
All right. I'm gonna challenge you, Nicole. And
Uh,
you're the host, right? So I don't want to get banned or shadow banned from your show because you got a tremendous show that you continue to build. And congratulations on all your recent success,
thank
especially the
you.
new radio show.
Yes, sir.
But I'm gonna challenge you to write it down
Okay. I'm gonna
because
write.
because right now, January 16th, or for me at least, January 15th over there for you, everything is sweet. It's been sweet these first couple of weeks. Life has been good, and that's why you've been able to stick with some of these goals. But the problem is, I need to help you prepare for when times aren't so good. I need to
Okay.
help you prepare for when you reach barriers to
Mm,
your success, because that's when we fall off. We fall off when the rubber meets the road and the road is treacherous.
mm,
That's when it gets difficult. So if you don't write these goals down, then they become easier to forget when you're
mm.
stressed out.
Gotcha.
They become easier to push aside because they're not memorialized anywhere. They're not concrete. So that's my challenge for you. And here are some ways to do it. And this is for everybody. So obviously using your calendar is an incredible tool to map out your day.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we talked about your 8 hours of sleep. You know pretty much by now what time you need to get up every day, or what time your natural circadian rhythms allow for you to be at your best once you awake. So
Right.
now we can reverse engineer and then put 8 hours back from that. All right. So
Okay.
now we have a time. So now we can write that time down somewhere. Go to bed by plank. So
Mm-hmm.
now it's less of get 8 hours of sleep, which all sleep isn't equal, right? If you went to bed at 2 a.m. And had a couple naps and you got your 8 hours of sleep, but that wasn't what you were trying to get. You're
Mm.
trying to get 8 hours of consistent sleep to help you start your day better,
Right.
right? So now 10 p.m. is the time you go to sleep. And
Mm-hmm.
now you can set alarms for that. And now you can do all this governance around sleep behavior. When do you stop watching TV? When do you stop being on social media? And now you can build in an entire schedule. And once you have a schedule, you can stick to the schedule. or you could at least have the mindset of understanding when you're off from your schedule. Now, if you
Mm,
never write the stuff down, though, it's hard to know when you're not still achieving it. It's hard to know, did I replace that meal this week? I can't quite remember because I'm stressed out. I got
mm,
all these different things I'm doing. I can't remember if I replaced the or did I have my cheat day already? All right,
mm.
well now you got end up having 2 cheat days because you forgot about your first one. So it's like little things like that. But if you start writing them down and you say, hey, my cheat day is on Wednesday,
Mhm.
and
Okay.
then now now you got other things to kind of protect you from yourself when times get tough.
Makes sense. So Steph, hey Steph, she's here in Tallahassee. She said, I wish I got 8 hours of sleep.
I know, right?
Steph, it's a goal. I don't get it every day. I don't get it every day, but I'm conscious of it. I'm mindful of it. But I am going to take Coach GC up on his challenge, and that is to write my goals down. So yes, 10 o'clock is my bedtime, which means I need to be off of here with you in 9
Yep,
minutes
yep,
because I
yes,
got
ma'am.
stuff to do before I go get in that bed. So I could get up at 6, which is my 8 hours. Boom, boom, boom. That's
All right,
it.
so let's bring it in for a landing then.
Yes. Well, before we do, I'm curious in terms, since you mentioned writing it down, I want to know, do any of the viewers, do you all write your goals down? And does that help? If you do, does it help you with, checking them off on a daily basis? If these are daily goals, I don't know, they're daily, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever it is, do you write them down? And do you look at them frequently? Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. I plan to keep this in terms of my time. So, like I said, 10 o'clock. That's a good time for me to go to sleep. That is a good time. Last night I was in bed by 8, but I woke up at 4.
Ooh. Okay, so that still sounds like 8 hours.
Yeah, it was.
Now, how
It,
did you feel at the end of that day, though? Did you feel off?
well, I don't know because I woke up. I woke up 4 this morning. So
Oh, that's the day.
yes. So we gonna
Mm-mm-mm.
see. We gonna see how it works. I am a
Oh,
little tired though because I didn't get no nap today. Not that I normally do anyway. All right. So yes, bring us in for Atlanta because nobody's responding. I guess nobody writes down their goals. So, but I'm gonna
I'm
do.
challenging everybody. The same way you put it in the chat today, it's the same way I want you to write things down. And I want you to do another thing. I want you to take it a step further. And I want you to send your goal. I want you to send it to your accountability partner, someone who can hold you accountable, someone who will remember that you said you wanted to do something, someone who has enough cachet with you that when they challenge you on something, you can't immediately be like, go away. Someone with some staying power in your life, right? So for me, my accountability partner is my wife. So when I
Okay.
told her I want to start producing these videos, I'm going to start publishing these videos. Now I have to live with her, and I have to live with myself if I don't. I got to
Hmm.
live with her looking at me like, I thought you said you were going to do this. But what I did this year that I haven't done in years prior is I gave her my why.
Okay.
I gave her my why. I armed her with a new tool to
Mm,
use back on me to help me remember why I was fighting for this goal in the first place. God set a different type of goal this year. I didn't set one that was simple. I set one that would move the needle. I set one that mattered, right? Because that's the kind of productivity that I want. That's the only way I can actually feel productive, is that the thing that I'm doing is helping me be the better version of myself.
yes.
And so once I gave her that why, I'm doing this because I feel like this is my job to do. This is what God put me on this earth to do. And if I never go out here and put this information out here, I can't help people. And
Mm,
so not only am I doing a disservice to myself, I'm doing a disservice to everyone, right? Because there's a ripple effect of fulfilling your goals, right? Yes, selfishly, you get the dopamine hit of being able to check off things. That's another reason why you should write stuff down. You get that little dopamine every time you check and say, hey, I did this. They
right.
actually have studies that say you should add making your bed every morning to your list, your to-do list, so that when you do it, you instantly have a dopamine shot to start your day.
Really?
You know, at bare minimum, you did something off your list. Boom, check.
Hmm. Okay.
Right. And so now I've given her these tools, so now she can help me when I am at my lowest or when I am at my not at my best. She now has the tools to say, hey, this is why you said you were going to do this. And hopefully those things remotivate me to get back and be more accountable to the version of myself that set the goals so I can achieve
Okay.
them.
Nice. No, that's good. I like the that extra tool to help, you know, get you back on track.
Yeah,
That's kind of the way I see it. Because we can definitely get off track for sure.
without a doubt. It's an obstacle course, not a race. That's
Mhm.
what I tell people.
That's a great way to describe it. It absolutely is. All right. Quasi, he said, I find that writing daily goals help me manage time better. And when I fail to complete a task, I include it in my assignments for the next day. Thus, on a monthly basis, I completed the list and moved closer to accomplishing my quarterly goals.
This is
Yeah.
fantastic. That is the way to do it.
Hmm.
And then the one thing I will say is prioritization is super helpful.
Hmm.
Understanding every day when you or before you go to bed, think about your next day, right? And I want you to think, what's one thing I have to get done?
Hmm.
Have to. Like, I will have a bad day. It won't be a good day if I don't get this thing done. And then make that the top of your priority, right? And then the next thing I want you to do is think about a couple things that, hey, if I get this done, that'd be pretty good. That'd be
Mm.
pretty good if I got these things done. So one, you're trying to avoid a bad day. Bad day if I don't get this done. We want to avoid that. Now we
Right.
want to make a good day. If I get these couple things done, this will be a good day, be a very productive day. And then the last thing I want you to do is look at your calendar, look at your list of what you need to do, and figure out what do you need to move off of there to make sure that you can get those goals done, especially the number one.
Okay. So say that one more again. So
Yeah,
for
no
those,
problem, no problem.
for
All right,
those
so
in the
this is
back
the
who might not
challenge.
have heard it.
All right, this is your Coach GC challenge for 2025. Every night, I want you to spend 5 minutes thinking about one thing that you have to do tomorrow that you have to get done. As in, if you don't get it done, you will have a bad day. It's a bad day if you don't get it done, right? That's the level of productivity we're dealing with. So, what's the one thing that you have to do tomorrow that you just have to get done? Now, let's focus on avoiding bad days, but we also want to have good days. So in that 5 minutes, I want you to focus on two things that if you got those two things done, it'd be a pretty good day. A
Hmm.
pretty productive day. Man, I posted 2 videos. I got those videos edited. All right. I'm feeling myself. I want you to focus on what are the couple things that you can do tomorrow that'll give you that feeling, give you that dopamine hit of not
Hmm.
so bad, not so bad. And then the last thing I want you to do, I want you to spend the remainder of that time going through your calendar, tomorrow's calendar, to see if there are things that you need to move around, or even things that you need to push off to the next day that stop you from achieving that first goal and potentially the second goal. Is there
Okay.
something on your calendar that's going to stop you from fulfilling that thing that if you don't do it, you're going to have a bad day?
Got it.
And that's it. Just 5 minutes to end your day, start your new day.
Okay. We got our marching orders. All right. Well, I want to thank you for being my guest, but you gave us some closing remarks. So I think now would be a good time for you to tell folks how to connect with you.
Well, again, thank you for having me on. Thank you for bringing me back, Nicole. I greatly
Absolutely.
appreciate it. It's I'm starting to track my journey in life by where I am every time I appear on your on one of your shows, and
Okay.
I enjoy watching on all the different platforms that you're on. But thank you for having me on this one.
Right.
Um, you can find me on LinkedIn. That's where I'm going to be posting most of my information. You can also find my professional development and executive coaching platform, Greatness Curated. That's also on LinkedIn. And if you have any questions, if there's something that I can help you achieve, if you find that you just need a little bit more help, a little bit more guidance to get to your righteous destiny, then feel free to email me at info@coachgc.law.
All right. Very good. Very good. So hopefully you all have found this to be beneficial. I definitely have. I got some homework to do. Thank you, Coach. But great conversation. Definitely some nuggets, some gems that we can apply for the remainder of the week, the remainder of the month, the remainder of the year. So, encouraging us to unlock our productivity, not get stuck procrastinating, not participate in fear of failure. And or if we do, the only fear that we should have is not being the best version of ourselves, right, Coach?
Yep, that's it. That's
Yeah,
what should scare us.
yes, yes, yes. So we want to habit stack, right? Good
Yep.
habits. We want to stack those. And we also want to write down our goals and share them with our accountability partner, and don't be mean and ugly when they hold us accountable.
I forgot to add that part. You're right.
Yes. All right. So, my sister is giving us some hand claps. Thank you, Shay. And thank you so much for being here. I hope you benefited from this conversation and found some things that you can use in your daily life. All right. We got Sister Abaniche. She said, greetings, everyone. Thank you for the encouragement. Success comes from well laid plans. Yes, it
Mhm.
does. Thank you for being here. So, all right. We got plenty to do, y'all. Plenty to do. But don't take it as, a burdensome task, but something that's going to just help you live your best life, right?
The
We are
life you're supposed to live.
Yeah, exactly. We striving to be better each and every day. So these are just some helpful tools, some tips, some techniques that can help us get there. All right. All right. Well, we're gonna close this out. You all have a very good evening. Great rest of the week. I know we got the long weekend coming up with MLK, so be safe out there. For those of you who are in Tallahassee, I will be emceeing the Distinguished Black Classical Excellence Awards and concert on Sunday at the AC Hotel Javasia Arts Conservatory. It's their inaugural event. They'll have awards and a concert there at the AC. It is absolutely free. They'll have food. Starts at 3 p.m. on Sunday at the AC Hotel. And then I'll also be emceeing the MLK Festival at Cascades Park in Tallahassee, right there at the amphitheater, at the Adderley Amphitheater. So that begins at 1:30. So hopefully we'll see you out and about. If you're gonna hang out and celebrate the MLK holiday. And if not, just again be safe and we'll see y'all next time. Bye.